Well, geometers and seekers of general truths, in this video we begin a new unit, or we continue a unit on circles, and we are going to talk about angles within a circle, and they have some special names and some special properties. So let's get right to the vocabulary. A central angle of a circle is an angle whose vertex is the center of the circle. So the circle here, the center is named A, and the vertex here, remember, of an angle is just the point where the angle is made. So one example here is that C to A to D, we can say angle CAD is a central angle. We could also say angle DAB is another. Whoa, that was messy. Let's try that again. We could also say that angle DAB is another central angle. Okay. And maybe one more here. We can also say, angle CAB here is a central angle. So all of those are central angles of this particular circle. And we name this circle according to its center, our central angles of circle A. Okay. All right, now continuing on with the next part here, we're going to talk about arcs, and I've drawn another circle here with some slightly different points and some different line segments on here, and this is really just for us to understand the vocabulary. So if the measure of ACB, and the center here is C, is less than 180 degrees, then the points on circle C that lie in the interior of that angle form a minor arc. So this was really trying to say that if you have all of these points here on the circle within that angle, so this is an arc, right? So we can call that right there arc AB. So that line right there, that's pronounced arc AB. Now what makes this a little bit perhaps confusing is that there are other ways that we could also name arc AB. So we could also, let me just switch up the colors here, we could also go in this direction from A all the way to B. Okay, so that way that I've just highlighted, that can also be called arc AB. So in order to differentiate the big arc there, we call that the major arc, AB major. Okay, so the measure of the major arc is the difference between 360 and the related arc. And then the smaller arc here that we just did, we would call that AB minor. Now, by default, if you just see an arc like this, arc AB, we assume that it's minor by default. Okay. Other times we might mix it up a little bit and specify that it's a major arc. Okay. So next thing here we have the measure of a minor arc. So the measure of a minor arc is simply the measure of its central angle. So the measure of AB minor, and we'll put the measure symbol right here, AB minor is the measure of its central angle. So that's the same thing as the measure of angle ACB. And the measure of the major arc, so this is the measure of AB major, that would be the difference between 360 and its minor. So it would be 360 degrees minus the measure of the minor arc. So 360 minus the measure of angle ACB. Okay. So to say an arc measure is really to measure something in degrees, and it's just a way for us to express angles that are larger perhaps than 180 degrees. Okay. A semicircle is an arc with a measure of 180 degrees. So in this picture you can see here that if I use this arc from A to Q, I'm cutting through it goes from one point of the diameter to the other point of the diameter, so we can say that arc AQ is a semicircle. So there you have it, just some quick definitions here of arcs. And again, when we're talking about measuring arcs, we're talking about the central angle. So all of the units here are in degrees. Okay, so the measure of a minor arc is the measure of its central angles in degrees. The measure of a major arc is the difference between 360 degrees and the measure of the related minor arc. One thing we have not talked about is the length of the arc. Okay, that's not part of this. We're just talking about the measures. So I will end this video here. We will start another one that talks about congruences and arc addition postulate, and then we'll do some examples. As always, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.